right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have a transmission. This is your host, Joe Imbriano, the Fullerton Informer, coming to you live from the woke and broke, busted up streets of Fullerton, California. Today is Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. Another day during the reenactment of a Bolshevik revolution in the United States, folks. This is your host, Joe Imbriano, PO Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834. And for those of you who have sent mail to me this month, it's been returned. I don't know what the heck the post office thought they were doing, but please send it back. They had a return to sender order on my box for no reason, but has been corrected. I was in there yesterday. It's really sad, you know, the way they play dirty with me. They've pretty much done everything they can to make sure that people can't get stuff over to me, whether it's letters, postcards, or dehydrated food. I've gotten all kinds of interesting things from people, and Bibles and books that I read, CDs to watch, DVDs, just I need to be able to be reached in a manner that isn't traceable electronically, so information can continue to be disseminated to me. And the U.S. mail is probably the last way to send anything without it being read or tampered with, if you send it registered, or with tracking. All right, so today I want to talk to you about the destruction of the food supply. I wish I didn't have to have this discussion, folks, but if you fail to learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. And look, it's pretty obvious, folks. I think today there's another fire at a food processing or storage facility. This one's in Northern California. Millions of pounds of nuts, folks, have gone up in flames today in California. Millions of pounds of nuts. We hear about this massive fire at a chicken farm, a massive fire at a chicken or meat packing plant, massive fire at a cattle farm. Hey, can I ask you a question, folks? How come the pharmacies never catch on fire, or the porno stores never catch on fire, or the liquor stores never catch on fire, or the movie theaters never catch on fire, or the movie studios never catch on fire? It's only the food production facilities that catch on fire. Why is that? How come the payday loan places never catch on fire? I mean, why is it that only the good things burn, right? Well, if you understand communism, and if you understand the agenda of the people that want to murder off all of the white Christians, because that's pretty much what's going on right now in Russia and Ukraine. It's literally a genocide where they've got them killing each other. And in the United States, they're just going to starve everybody to death by burning down all the food processing plants, all the food storage facilities. And then what you have is this, I might as well talk about it because it ties into this. We've got this bird flu, right? Oh, yes. There's this supposed, H5N1 strain of a virus, a so-called virus, right? Something that you can't see, something that they can't isolate, something that they claim exists, that has the potential to allegedly infect a bird. And the birds, they're not coughing or sniffling, they're flying around. And they're going about their business, chirping and pooping and eating and distributing seeds and laying eggs and making nests. And they're allegedly passing around this strain of a so-called virus, right? And then this so-called virus that doesn't make the birds sick is apparently infecting things like cattle, right? And chickens, right? The sparrows and the finches and the mockingbirds and the ravens and the pigeons and the mourning doves and the hummingbirds and the swallows and the owls and the ravens and the vultures and the herons and the pelicans and the seagulls and the terns and the wrens and all these herons and all these cormorants, all these birds that are in my neck of the woods where I live in Southern California. They're just going about their business, making nests and chirping and eating the mulberries and the blackberries in my yard, and they're just going about their business and having families and making babies, and I can hear the babies in the morning chirping, and I can see the nests in different. They're all supposedly at risk because they're wild birds of carrying this H5N1 supposed virus, right? And this supposed alleged virus has the potential, or has been alleged to cross the species barrier and go from, like a migratory bird to chickens in a coop in a backyard or in a chicken farm. And so as a result, the governments have decided and determined that it's in the best interest of public health to destroy the chicken farm and slaughter the birds and, exterminate them. And then now they're saying that this bird flu has been found in fish farms, in aquatic animals. It's been found in, the salmon. And they're saying it's now been found in cattle. And they're saying that this is the first time ever that somebody that works in a cattle facility has contracted the bird flu from a cow. All right? That's like getting a sexually transmitted disease from an asteroid, okay? I mean, seriously, folks, how stupid do you have to be to believe this? Do you realize what they're setting up? Well, I guess if you've been rammed through enough school to turn you into an idiot, you'll believe this narrative, right? You should be sick of this, folks, because it's just a matter of time. When they're done blowing up the meatpacking plants, when they're done blowing up the chicken farms, when they're done lighting on fire the warehouses that are full of all the almonds, that they're eventually going to just kind of say, hey, gang, it's time to kill all the animals because they got the supposed this thing called bird flu, and we don't want it to spread to the people. So we're going to protect all of you by destroying your food supply. We're going to protect all of you by taking your guns away. We're going to protect all of you by locking you in your room so you make sure you stay in there with no fresh air, no sunlight, under a Wi-Fi router, surrounded by LED backlit screens under LED light bulbs, eating frankenfruit and lab-grown meat as you live your Black Mirror existence in front of a psychotronic electronic television Ouija board that you're going to stare at for your instructions. And can I tell you something, young people? This part's for the young people. You need to listen to me. And I know young people. I'm a father. I have a family. I've raised children successfully. And it's not easy to raise children today, especially when everybody is telling them nothing but lies and making them learn these lies to get good grades so they can go get tortured some more in college to learn even more lies, so they can be part of a system that's based on lies to kill everybody. Oh, you think I'm kidding, huh? Look what you're taught in school, young people. You think you're going to need Shakespeare? You think you're going to need calculus? They've already made all the weapons. They don't need you engineers anymore. They've already made all the laser beams and bombs. Why don't you just watch some videos of what happened in Paradise, California, or what's going on in Gaza right now? They've already made the weapons. Now they're playing with them. They're going to use them on us. And by the way, if you want to know what their plan is, watch the Hunger Games. You think you stupid young people that are kissing your teachers' butts right now, going along with all this lies, all this scientific trash, you think you're going to have a special place? I'll tell you right now, you will have a special place, number one, in hell. Number two, in part of this nightmare. Because the devil who controls all this is no respecter of persons. And what he's just like all these Hollywood people that they just snuff out, they just throw them in the trash, they steal all their money, they kill them when they're done with them. That's what happens with the politicians. It's what happens with anybody that serves these people. Because when you work for the devil, when you sell your soul, and when you lose your mind in school, you have a very terrible outcome. Now, I'm not talking about going through life being successful in terms of worldly success, folks. You know, some of the stupidest and most evil people I know are the ones that have the most education. And they are going to have the special place in the lake of fire, okay, for what they're involved in. But young people, listen to me. Everything you're being told in school is a lie. All the science, all of it is theoretical crap. Trust me. You're talking to somebody that went to the university. I have a bachelor's degree in chemistry. I have a bachelor's degree in biological science. I was put through the washing machine, and I came out alive with a brain, okay? And let me tell you how I know that everything's a lie. Because if you just stop listening to this crap they're feeding you constantly, and close your eyes and take a deep breath, and take a couple days and just kind of look around at what we're living in, what we're living on, and look around at the people running things and what they're shoving down your throat and shoving through your ears and your eyes and literally up your backside every minute of the day with propaganda and crap and bad information, you'll realize you've been had, okay? You will realize you've been had in a big way. And there's a reason why there are these buildings with these fences around them all over the place where they work these people that run these places 6 months a year, and they teach the same crap every year, year after year. They use the same slides, the same narrative, same mantra, same schedule, same grades, same social clubs, same sports. For the last 100 years, because it's so effective at turning out brainwashed idiots that serve the system and don't rebel. And so the end result of this is a dystopian, psychotically controlled Marxist society whose roots are based in secular humanism and Satanism. And consequently, everywhere you look, it's satanic imagery, occultic imagery, and diametric opposition to God in terms of what they call science, where they say there is no God, and you came from an explosion of rocks and lightning bolts and gases and amino acids that turn into a kidney stone and a urethra and a cerebellum and subcutaneous lesions and hair follicles and optic nerves and carotid arteries and, oh my God, I mean, come on. You know, when I was a young child, I used to like to play with erector sets. And one of these erector sets I had even had these little electric motors. You hooked them up to batteries and it made things spin and wheels would turn and stuff. But I could never make the Empire State Building. You know, I could never make a 72 Chevy Nova when I was a little kid out of an erector set. And I remember the first time I looked under the hood of my dad's Ford LTD station wagon when I was a little kid. I was very small. I was probably like 4 years old, maybe 3 years old, when he actually lifted me up to look under the hood of this thing. I never understood what a car was when I was a child. At some point, when I was little, I actually thought the car was alive because it moved and it did what my dad would talk to it. Sometimes he'd yell when someone cut him off, and I thought he was talking to the car. But, when I saw what was under that hood, I was fascinated because, you have all these components, your carburation intake manifold, and heads, and water pump, and radiator, and alternator. master cylinder, slave cylinder, and you got the electronics for the battery, the horn, the windshield wiper motor, the heater, all the fans and the dashboard, all the electronics, all the wiring. Folks, that doesn't get there by accident. You got a bunch of people that have put, the pencil to the paper for decades engineering and working this stuff out. Yet they expect every one of you who's gone through this literal, absolute trash indoctrination that they called education. They did it to me, folks. I speak from experience. It's ludicrous that this came from nothing. All this high-level organization, all the way from what they tell us is the cell. That's probably even a lie, for crying out loud. They don't know what the heck is going on. All they know how to do is make you stupid and perverted and sick and promote, an upside-down food pyramid to make you fat and lazy and stupid and overweight and sickly so they can drug you and kill you and tell you there's no God and tell you you're a failure because you don't have a 4.5 grade point average learning the lies. Oh, so you aren't going to go on to be one of these guys that wear a butcher's outfit and promote toxic medication and things that have no business being put into your bloodstream. Oh, you want to be one of them. Is that the definition of success? Well, if you're a stupid idiot and an absolute moron, then that is the definition of success. But you want to know what the definition of success is, folks? Let me tell you what it is knowing the truth, having the truth set you free, and having it all for eternity through Jesus Christ. That's success, folks. It's not the world's possessions. All the funerals I've been to, and these guys, all the money they got, they ain't taking it with them. They're gonna rot in that box. They're gonna turn into nothing but a pile of bones and a bunch of stinky, rotten flesh in that grave, right? And all the crap they did, all their life, all forgotten, hopefully forgotten. Some of the bad stuff they've done, hopefully people forget about it. But your contribution on this earth is nothing in terms of eternity. So why be a sellout here, huh? Why sell out for this place? This place is a trash heap because of what it's been turned into. It's not God's plan to live like this. It's not God's plan to be a debt slave and have electronic weaponry all over your house and drink toxic soda and eat fake food and be told what to do and ordered around and be told what to think and to stay up till 2 in the morning doing math equations so you can deal with some weird-looking lady in a classroom that doesn't give a rat's what about you, but you want to kiss their butt so you can get moved on and get a letter of recommendation in one of these perverted schools where they teach you everything is upside down and they tell you it's the truth and you believe it because you're a coward because you won't face it. They're getting ready. By the way, didn't you read the Communist Manifesto in high school? Well, if you missed it in high school, they'll certainly give it to you in college now, won't they? In the fall of 1984 was my freshman year at UCI, and I had a year of electives I had to go through called Humanities Core. And I had a professor, if you want to call him that, and funny and ironically at the time in 1984, his name was Don Johnson. It wasn't the movie star, it was some other guy. And this class lasted for an entire year in the year 1984 at UCI, University of California, Irvine. And the first book we read was the Communist Manifesto. And we had to study that and write papers on it. And then we had to read the works of Engels and Hobsbawm and all this, communist revolutionary trash, right? And, ever since the Bolsheviks took down Russia and, started that, when the government, turned on the people and murdered 100 million Christians. And by the way, they murdered 100 million Christians at the turn of the 19th century, folks. Don't kid yourself. This is all true. And there were all these starvation massacres that went on where the government confiscated all the food and crops and were nailing farmers to the barn doors. They were literally crucifying these farmers in front of their families, nailing them hands and feet to the walls of these barns. They would come and steal all their food, left everybody for dead. And it was a big endeavor back then, because back then it took a lot of troops and a lot of man hours and because they had to have boots on the ground in force, and people were spread out and self-sufficient. Because back then it was a lot easier to control 100 million people than it was to murder them. Now it is a lot easier to murder 100 million people than to control them. And let me tell you how this is going to be accomplished. Through the social engineering. And by the way, for all you college grads that have gone on and gone into urban studies and sociology and government and got into this urban planning and all these lies about rationing water and moving people into compact cities, congratulations, because you've engineered the kill grid. Because now that they have everybody herded into these compact cities, and they've made the King's Forest, which is 95% of the United States, which is rural open space, off limits and undeveloped, so there's nothing out there but pine trees and pedophiles, right? You're stuck in the city. If they shut off your power and water, what happens? Kaboom, you're done. That's right. It's a lot easier now to kill 100 million people than it is to control them. 100 years ago, it was a lot easier to control 100 million people than it was to kill them. They flipped the whole model, folks. And when they start blowing up chicken farms, when they start burning down nut warehouses, when they're burning up 10, 20, 30 million pounds of nuts, when they're burning up chicken farms, and when they're giving us this narrative that there's this so-called virus that is spread by wild birds that have no symptoms, and then it goes into chickens which have no symptoms, and then it's given to humans which develop symptoms, then we must murder all the chicken farms and the chicken flocks to protect the humans. We must go and kill all the cattle to protect us from a disease that the cows have no symptom of that supposedly caught it from a bird. It ain't funny. Hang on. I had to have a drink of water. Are you folks listening to me? Once again, how come it's the chicken farms that catch on fire? How come it's the cattle ranches that catch on fire? How come it's the residential communities in places catching on fire? How come it's the meatpacking plants that catch on fire? How come all of these places that give us food catch on fire, but none of these places that are full of filth catch on fire? You ever wonder that? Ever wonder why that is? Well, you see, folks, it's pretty simple. And by the way, the worthless churches are all in on this, okay? That's right. Now, there's maybe a handful in the country that are worth their salt, but by and large, your pastor's a sellout clown, okay? If they're not talking about, selling your cloak and buy a sword and getting ready for a confrontation because they're going to take everything away from us and kill us, it's pretty obvious what they're doing. Now, for those of you who are what happened? Some guy next to me with a Wi-Fi jammer going to go rob a house? All right, so if you believe in all these lies that you teach your children, like Satan Claus, some fat guy with a beard that likes little children to sit on his lap, and then you got this Easter bunny thing and the tooth fairy and all this crap. So you start at a young age with your children lying to them, and then you put them off into school so they get lied to some more. Well, you know what the problem is, folks? The children believe the lies. And what happens is if they start believing in evolution, then they become deathly petrified of death, right? They become horrified of the prospect of dying because they don't understand the concept of eternal life, nor do they understand the concept of how It's freely given through Jesus Christ and his sinless sacrifice, right? Free and sinless sacrifice of Jesus Christ gives eternal life. You go to school, the first thing you see is, some weirdo that couldn't make it in life, so they became a teacher, right? I hate to say that, but it's not the best route considering the ramifications of what they're doing to the children. Okay? You cannot tell me that you have a brain and a conscience and you can go along with what these children are being taught now, what's being done to these children with the screens in front of them, the technology programs, the sterilizing microwaves in these classrooms, the Wi-Fi systems, these industrial strength access points. They've put Wi-Fi routers in these classrooms that are industrial in application, that are designed to run 200 and 300 devices. They're designed for factories and automation systems in production lines, and they're in classrooms. Your children are getting bloody noses and headaches and insomnia from this crap. And then you got the sex ed that they're pushing on them. Then you got all this liberal crap they're pushing on them. And then you got all this moral relativism that all this social Darwinism they're pushing on them. It's like, what the heck? And they teach these children that there's no God and that they're an accident, their life's an accident, and that they came from animals. And is it any wonder why they're trained to be animals in the movies and the music, and they turn out to be animals? And then what do? They lock them up, put them in a cage, keep them in there for a while, make them worse, turn them loose, and then rinse and repeat. Now you have crime. Now you have the pretext for more laws. Now you have the pretext to take the guns away. Now you have the pretext to take away the rights that we have because of the increasing crime. So what do? They rinse and repeat, lock them up for a while, make them worse, let them out of the streets again, and here we go. Now we got a society where everybody's hiding behind buildings and trash bins and bushes, all jacked up on fentanyl and oxys and a cocktail of anything else. Years ago, it was just these freaks that would, do head cleaner and hide in the garage. Now they're everywhere on Viagra. We got problems, folks. This is not a joke, okay? What we're dealing with here ain't funny. But I'll tell you this. The joke's on them because we're going to win, all right? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, what we have going on right now is the beginning of the end of our food supply. And if you can't see the handwriting on the wall, if you can't see what they're doing to the food supply, every time you turn around, there's another news story about, chicken farm being burned up, a cattle ranch being burned up, and then now we got a nut warehouse, we got a nut warehouse is being burned up. Let me tell you what a nut warehouse is, folks. A nut warehouse is where all these people that are in charge of all this stuff hang out. And how come that doesn't ever burn down, right? Oh, no, it's just the food production facilities, the food storage facilities, okay? That's what they're lighting on fire and blowing up. Why? Because if you understand Marxism, if you understand Bolshevism, if you understand that I think Trotsky's granddaughter is running the National Institutes of Health's Department of Addictive Substances, if you think that things haven't changed, if you think that there's nothing new under the sun, you are correct. We are dealing with monsters, folks, and they're telling you that your life is an accident, that you came from rocks and monkeys. They're telling you you have no value in school for 20 years. And you don't think that those chickens are going to come home to roost in some societal reengineering format that's going to be from the pit of hell? Well, I got news for you. If you don't believe what I just said, you're an idiot. You don't think they spend all this money fencing these places in, these lackeys a six-figure income to work half the year as they ram these lies down the throats of these children and make them rinse and repeat this until they puke it out in the exact order they want it to come out? That's what education is, folks. It lays the foundation for slavery, tyranny, and genocide. And it protects the perpetrators of tyranny, slavery, and genocide. And it actually equips the children to become workers to propagate the tyranny, the slavery, and the genocide. And if you think I'm kidding, folks, you're dead wrong. This is Joe Imbriano coming to you in the name of Jesus Christ today on Wednesday, June 5th, 2024, with a no-holds-barred broadcast telling you to get ready, okay? And when I mean get ready, folks. You got to be prepared to stand your ground and to hold your ground and doing so does not require sucking your thumb and assuming the fetal position in front of a husband with your cozy little blankie waiting for the Hot Pocket bell to go off in the microwave. It's going to take some real balls, folks, and some real strength and some real courage and some real wisdom, because they're going to keep pushing. And if you let them keep pushing without a pushback, they're going to run you over. All right. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please like this video, get it out, download it, upload it, share it, get the word out. Once again, my contact is P.O. Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834. And anybody that has sent me, once again, anybody sent me an email in the last 3 weeks, please resend it. It's probably going to get returned. Go ahead and send it back. They've taken the block off of my box. I don't know. I do not understand why on so many fronts I'm messed with. But you know what? It's par for the course. Take care, folks. Thank you for tuning in.